All right, so if you haven't been able to tell from the history of this channel, the fact that I primarily got started with Breath of the Wild way back when, doing guides and stuff like that. I'm a Switch enthusiast. I love the Switch. I think it is great. The only thing I don't love about it is its ergonomics when you're playing handheld. Even with the Satisfy grip, it's a lot more comfortable, but I keep navigating solutions, grips, things like that. I always just go back to my Steam Deck because it's so much more ergonomic, right? It feels better to play, especially for long sessions. Like I can sit and play my Steam Deck forever, right? I can play that thing for a good long while it's in my hands. So found a solution, hopefully. This is the Nitro Deck by Cracked, and we're gonna unbox this and try it out, see how it works today. If you're new here, I'm Little Bobby, and I do some guides on games, and I do some like tech unboxings and stuff like that. So, you know, subscribe, like this video if you like this video. Do all that happy stuff. It's a great way to support the channel, and I do appreciate it very, very much. So we're gonna go over here. I obviously blacked out my personal information for obvious reasons, but it looks like this is the actual packaging. Now I'm gonna try and keep the blade off camera if possible, just because, you know, YouTube can be a little weird. I don't want this video demonetized, because, you know, that helps. That helps out ever so much. It helps me, you know, ideally pay James more. James, I appreciate you, man. Thank you again for editing. Oh, and this comes in its own box. So it's got a separate box. I thought that was going to be the box, but it does come in a separate box. This is actually very cool. They had a lightning sale on Amazon for this thing. I've wanted one of these since it dropped. This is the Nitro Deck Retro Purple, and it's supposed to look like a GameCube, like, you know, the OG GameCube controllers. And this is the exact one I wanted, and this is the one that had the lowest price on the lightning deal. So I was like, yes, I'm going to take that now. It's got a little handle when you open it. I assume that's to kind of help guide it back into the box. It does say console not included, and there's some little weird caveats with this thing from what I've heard and seen. Take it apart. I just love the look. Oh, this is some nice packaging. I love good packaging, you know. But let's see. Let's see. Okay. So there's a QR code in here, and I think that's for like the NFT thing that they do with these. So like your Nitro Deck has a specific number, right? It aligns to a virtual registration card. It's an NFT, right? These came out like right as NFTs were really starting to fade out, so that would explain that. There is a little like belt, I assume. Yeah, it looks like you can put this on this loop on the case. So let's move this box out of here. Oh, and there's another. Oh, that's the part from the box. We'll fix that. My cat is so tired, he's not even investigating all the boxes I put on the bed. So this looks like you would just, you know. Oh, I see. You have one here, one here, and then you've got like a little carrying strap for it. That's actually pretty rad. I like that a lot. Now, these retro collection models, there are a number of retro collection models, and I'll have like James put them up. They're doing ones now closer to N64 where they're like the see-through red, see-through orange, I think. That kind of stuff, where the N64 had those see-through models for a couple of years. And then they have the purple one that we have here. They also have one that's themed on the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo would have been my second choice. I just love the GameCube color scheme. You can tell I'm like a fan of purple. You know, this is like purpley. It looks kind of blue, but it's purple, believe it or not. You know, purple light behind me, all that stuff. Now I got this because it's supposed to be much more ergonomic. Ooh, I love this. They give you a very nice braided cable. Very, very nice braided cable with this case. That I assume is to plug into your charging, you know, your charger, and run it through so that you can vibe with this. This looks pretty long. I would say this is probably 6 feet long, if not longer. There are also a number of things. It comes with a branded cleaning cloth, I assume for the screen and for the hands. I love that. And absolutely love this. If you're like me, I tend to enjoy on my right thumbstick a concave, right? A concave thumbstick, one that goes in instead of comes out. So I could pull this original one off, I believe. Should just be able to pop off. Oh, There we go. And then we could slap this one on. I'll actually do that right now because that's very cool. The left, I don't mind it being, you know, pushed out, convex, whatever you want to call it. But that's cool. They give you replacement thumbsticks. So if you like the thumbsticks to go in instead of out, you've got that. There is a little screen protector in this case that kind of protects the screen of your Switch, where if you're like me and you have an OLED Switch, you definitely want to protect that screen. It is actual glass. It's not lined like the original one. The original one is lined with like plastic that keeps everything kind of together. This one is not. The cool thing about this, right? I have my cat chewed Skyward Sword Joy-Cons, right? So I'm going to take these off. My cat, I love him to death, but that was one of the most angry things I've ever woken up to, is seeing those beautiful Joy-Cons chewed up. Now what you do is you just slip your Switch into there. It actually clicks in really nice. And boom, did it automatically pair? That would be great. I don't know if it did. So what you do have to do, here's one of the caveats of this thing. You do have to go in and set it up. It says it paired, right? But what I need to do is like make sure. So let me see if I can figure this out. Yeah, there it is. So what you do need to do is you need to make sure you go down to your controllers and sensors and then go down to Pro Controller Wired Communication there, right? And once you do that, you'll have this nice and set up for moving. Now that I've got that, this is actually really comfortable. If you look at this, right, the normal Switch with the Joy-Cons is this wide. And this is why I wanted to check this thing out, is because this is just a girthy boy, right? Now, one of the things I've heard, oh, and yeah, that this right here, I could absolutely see being one of the kind of killers. Now, I don't know if I have saved data on these. So we're just going to start this up and see kind of how it handles. I do feel one of the main complaints already is that this thumbstick is in a bad position. And I could absolutely see that being a long-term kind of thing. It does feel really low. And I don't have long fingers, like, especially if you have like long fingers, right? I don't have very long fingers. But if I did, I could definitely see this being worse for this thumb. This thing should be a little bit higher. I would say like if you'd made it like a ½ inch higher and maybe move these buttons up just a tad as well, maybe like a ¼ inch, less space between here. And then you have these, you would have had a really good thing, but we'll have to kind of see how this goes. So let me get through this to where I can kind of, you know, play and get to where I can move around, and we'll see how it plays. Okay, so I took a little time to see how this thing works, and I got out of the very basic starting area where Ganondorf wakes up, so we don't have to watch like the movie. This thing actually is really nice, with the exception of this right stick. The right stick feels a little low, and especially if I'm playing something like Zelda or Mario where I need to go back and forth with the right stick a lot, that could be problematic. Now, a solution I did find is this thing does have programmable back buttons, right? And all you do is you hold this, and I'm just going to set it to the exact same thing. I'm going to press and hold it, and this light up button should turn purple and start flashing. And what I can do is press B and then hit that. And what that's going to do is make that button now on the back my B button, right? So now that I've got that, I can go and without having to move, do it. This would be one of the most problematic things of this whole thing, because going for combat would not be that bad, right? We have this, and I can go that, boom, because I'm not going to use my right stick a whole ton during combat. But when I'm running around and I need to turn the camera quickly, I can very easily have it bound to the back button. And I can do the same thing like if I wanted to jump. Let's say I wanted to set my jump button, which is X, to the other side. I can have that now go X and then go boom. And now that's going to be that top button. So now I should be able to navigate freely without ever having to leave this thumbstick, which is very, very nice. This thumbstick does still feel really low, because if you are someone who's just not used to these like I am, you know, I'm used to these because I have this, you know, this. I use them on the Steam Deck for like Elden Ring, things like that. I'm very used to these specialized back button controllers. Other people are not, and they just don't like them. So I could very easily see very easily see, I just got ran over by a bird, but I could very easily see that if you don't like these, this could be a problem because you just want to press your buttons normally. Now, one of the solutions I did find is just using the center of my thumb, right? Going like this and then going like that, right? Or here in this case, right? Using the center of the thumb instead of bending it all the way down to go like this, right? It all just depends on how you want to do it. But it does definitely feel like a weird angle. Like you have to position your thumb kind of in an awkward spot, which would lead to you kind of going like this. But again, if you want to map all of these face buttons to these back 4 buttons, you could do that. And that would basically solve the problem if you're someone who's very used to these back 4 buttons. Now, aside from all this, we do have speaker holes, and I think these are functioning as vents as well. The venting seems pretty good because if I put my hand on the back, it barely feels warm at all, and it is kind of thick. But if you notice right here, it's not very thick, so you'd be able to feel that warmth a little more. There's a little kickstand that comes out right here. It's great. And these buttons actually feel really good, right? It's like, they're not too clicky, they're not spongy, right? But they're not too clicky. I don't like buttons that are too clicky, but they've got like a nice little click to them without being too clicky. These shoulder buttons feel really good. These are very clicky, which I actually like. Oh, and I just threw my weapon. Outside of that, we have these with a nice travel time, right? So if you're playing something where it's like Fortnite, where you need to like, you know, go, that could be a little problematic, but just depending on how you like these, I wonder if you could set those up for like a hair trigger. But it doesn't, like, if you notice, like I don't have to press it very far, right? It's almost like a hair trigger already, but it just doesn't stop, right? Which is very cool. The D-pad feels a little soft. You may not like it if you like a more reactive, harder D-pad, like kind of more clicky. But that being said, overall this thing is not bad at all to play with, and it allows for some really cool creative expression because now I could go like this, jump up on these guys and hit them. Boom. Take his stick and then hit this other guy and boom. And notice, like I said, I didn't have to look. I just kind of like hold. Oh, there's this other guy. But I could just look and grab this and basically hit him and should be good to go, right? I don't need to do any of the crazy twirling of the stick or anything in the combat of this game, but it could be different in something like Mario where you need it to go really quickly. It all depends on your use case. Overall, I would say that this thing is actually really, really nice. It feels really great. I love the features. The stick is the only problem. If you can get used to this, I could actually see this being a really, really great pickup for you, especially if you get it on sale like I did. Keep your eyes on Amazon because this one was $59.99. Usually they're $89.99, so it's about 30 bucks off. I found this just yesterday and it got here today, which is great, but it does feel really good in the hand with the exception of that stick. And like I said, if you can use like the middle part of your thumb, then you could probably, probably have a good time with it. The sticks are Hall effect, so they're never gonna, have stick drift like a Joy-Con. That's one of the notorious problems with a Switch. The other thing that's really nice is that if you do, let's say you have something where you use gyro, like the aiming in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, you can use it with this, right? So you're very easily able to use gyro. Notice I'm not touching the sticks at all. I'm just moving the thing around. And I like that because I use gyro a lot, especially in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which are by far my most played games on the Switch because I'm a Zelda nerd. But if you have anything else with gyro that you need, this could do the job for you. But overall, this thing is quite a pickup. It's very secure. It also locks into place, and that's what this is. You would push this up to pull the whole Switch out of it. And with the lock in there, you can be sure that, like, if you're playing, it's not just going to come falling out. Like, I'm shaking this pretty good, right? And it's not coming out at all. So you can be pretty safe and secure with this if you're trying to do that. It's also a little input output set. I believe you could use like a USB like C to a monitor if you have that to output, and you probably get a good result. It's kind of like docking your Switch, right? It's a way to kind of dock it. But overall, this thing is actually really, really nice. I'm probably going to keep it a week or two. If I'm still happy with it, I'll probably hang on to it. If not, then I'll return it. But overall, the biggest issue is whether or not I can get over the placement of this thumbstick. And if cracked, if someone happens to see this, this has got to move, right? Like I would 10 out of 10 recommend this to anyone and everyone who wants a better kind of like a better ergonomical setup for their Switch. If this was not so low, like this is so low that it makes you put your hand in weird positions that are not ergonomic, and so it kind of defeats the whole point of it being more ergonomically sound. Aside from this, if you can use this and you can get over it, or your hand is the right size for it, maybe it's because I have shorter fingers, it's not for me, but someone with longer fingers might love it, right? I'm actually going out of town, so I'm going to take this with me when I go. Doing that, I should be able to see, because I'm going to see some friends. One of my friends has exceptionally long fingers, so I'm going to be like, hey man, play on this, and let me know what you think, if it's something for you. But maybe I'll let you guys know in a couple videos, like, hey, what's going on? But again, I'm Bobby. Thank you so much if you were watching this, and if you like this, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It's a great way to support the channel. Do appreciate it, and helps in the algorithm, all that stuff. But thank you again so much for watching. This was the cracked Nitro Deck. This thing's pretty impressive, especially for the price, and especially if you get it on sale. Let me know what you think of this, if you have one, or if you've tried one and you maybe didn't dig it, or if you were interested in one and this video helped you make a decision on it. Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.